I help companies and I help people to build their brand and to build their businesses. My forte always was to build companies and make them more profitable. But my forte also is to build people, to make them more profitable, to get them to understand how they think, how they behave. What interests me are people, because people make organizations, and they make organizations successful or actually unsuccessful. Confucius once said, people are all the same. Only the habits are different. So what intrigues me are people's habits. So what I was looking at today was your body language. I was analysing you and how you were communicating. Now a lot of people will make eye contact with somebody who they actually know in a networking organisation or in a networking place, or who they find attractive. Maybe who they can find a date with, right? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to find a date, even if it's a corporate direct date with other people, i.e. an event in the diary, can we meet? Can we do business? Okay, who here is after making themselves successful? All of you, hopefully. So let me show you how you can make yourself successful. Because if you don't make the first impression, and that first impressions count, you will make or fail that business dialogue, that relationship, right? So what I do is I help people to create that dialogue, to create that relationship. Now what mainly people do is, in networking events, they shake hands. So Jason, can I borrow you for a second? Jason, I'd like you to shake my hand, if that's not too much trouble. Now, how did Jason shake his hand? Right. So, for the person who's sitting next to you, can you please shake their hands? Jason, we have this young lady here. Did you notice any difference between person A and person B? Or not? What's that?
Different strengths, so different holds.
Different strengths, different holds, different grips. Okay. Now Jason came around this way. Jason, back again. What many people do, let's go over here so the cameras can actually see us. Some people shake their hands with what we call the death grip. And they press as hard as they possibly can. Now that is a sense of them showing some control. It's very much a male thing, to be honest with you. The testosterone starts building, right? It's very much on adversity. So a lot of politicians from different parties will start to do this. Who has the upper hand? Some people will make sure that they shake their hands and they have the upper hand. Again, that is a sense of control. Now, how do you feel when I'm shaking your hand like this?
Submissive.
Very submissive, right? So he will do as I tell him to do, right? So if somebody does shake your hand in this way, what would you do?
You turn it.
Right. This is what I do. Make sure you have your hand up when you're shaking my hand. Yeah. So bring your hand forward. Hi, how are you, Jason? That again is like a pattern break for that person. They just don't know what's happening. Some people will have the lower hand and they'll bring it up. Some people will have the lip handshake. You know the lip handshake, you know. or what we call the wet fish. And after a while you'll see yourself doing this sort of thing eventually, right? Or getting a tissue out and trying to blow your nose and then all of a sudden. This is what people tend to do. Nobody likes a lip handshake. So make sure that your handshake, or your hands at least, are dry. Now it depends on how you also stand, right? Now I know a salesperson, if he doesn't get his way, this is what he does. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for coming to see me. And he won't move his hand. He will make sure that the other person has to reach out. Again, it's that sense of control. You will see politicians, especially people like Barack Obama, and who was the president before W. J. Bush? Clinton. Clinton used to do this all the time. He used to always do this. Barack Obama still does this. And if the other politician touched him on the shoulder, or touched him on the arm, then he would also touch the other person on the arm. He would always make sure he got the last touch. Now, why do you think he did that? Power. I'm the man in control. I am the person who's going to give the last touch. I'm going to dictate how things go. So you've got to be careful how people shake their hands and what's in their mind. Because everything, body language, is a subliminal thing. It happens in the subconscious. Now, men will not stand square up. It's a bit awkward. It is a bit awkward. Why is it awkward? It feels a little bit
It's confrontation.
It's confrontation. Now, shaking of the hands came from people saying to the other person, the opponent, listen, my hand is empty. And this is where the shaking of hands actually started. Okay? My hands are empty. Now, men don't like to square up because it's a confrontation. Now, he feels nervous, I can tell he feels nervous. Yeah. Women, on the other hand, don't mind squaring up to each other. Because for them, it's not caveman days. We're not trying to be in a power trip here. So men, now notice, when you start to network later, men will stand in an angle. They'll communicate in an angle. All right, so it's non-confrontational.
Even
now,
with a woman, or?
Sorry?
Even with a woman, or?
Women will tend to, two women together will stand face to face.
Yes, but the man
Man and a woman, you'll probably see this happening. And now, especially if there's some sort of attraction between the man and the woman.
it will be closer.
When there's a lot of attraction, you'll see the pupils dilate, and also the focus of attention is more of a gaze. And it's more of a you can look at it. It's more around the triangle of the face, and it's that constant gaze. Now he's looking down because obviously he's not that way inclined. But it can have an effect on other people. So your body language will have an effect on other people. Other people's body language will have an effect on you. But you won't realise that. It's all happening in the subconscious. Okay, so talk to me about football. What do you know about football, and what can you tell me about football?
I'm a big Arsenal fan. Sorry guys. Yeah, big Gooner. Get to as many games as possible. Play football as much as I can myself. It's like it's okay. Like his character. He's quite spiky and.
What's Jason doing right now? Now Jason knows me. Jason knows me, but he's obviously directing his eyes somewhere else, right? So he's feeling a little bit nervous. Why is he feeling a little bit nervous? I'm in his personal space. Right. Now, if two couples are in love with each other, the proximity, what we call proxemics, their personal space is going to be a lot closer. Right? For people who don't know each other, it's going to be a little bit further away. However, it also depends on which side of the world you're from. So people in the East tend to stand a lot closer, and people in the West tend to stand a little bit further away. Now in networking events, it's quite interesting to see when you have people from the East and people from the West all in one room. Because what happens is, it waltz happens. The person from the East moves closer, and the reason why he or she moves closer is because they want that connection. They want to be connected. And where do people connect? Usually, which part of their body, now be nice, which part of the body do they actually point to when they know that they're connected with somebody? Yes, just do it there, the chest. So therefore, it's that connection. I get my feeling here. It's the chakras. It's usually the meridian. People don't say, do you know what? I get a feeling in my elbow about you. They don't. They say, I get a feeling in my chest, my stomach about you. Okay? So the person in the East will stand a little bit closer to the person in the West. And eventually the person in the West will start to feel uncomfortable, so he'll start to move the waistline, start to back off, but in a very subtle way. Now the person in the East, while he's still having this conversation, will think, hang on a minute, I'm not connecting with this guy. So he'll start to move forward. And then the person in the West will start to move that way. So you can see a waltz happening within the room. Okay? So you've got to be conscious of how does that person like to connect. Some people like to connect close up. Some people like to stand off a little bit. Some people like to stand in an angle. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, how can I actually infiltrate a group in a networking organization when I don't know the people within the room and I can't connect? How do I start to connect with those people? Now, some people will stand when they're having a conversation, they know each other, they'll stand face to face, and it's what we call a closed group. Now, it's much easier if people standing at an angle, i.e. an open stance, for another person to walk in and have a conversation. So next time, or even here today, when you're networking, make sure how you're standing. Are you in an open stance or in a closed stance? Because if you're in a closed stance, you don't want anybody else to disturb you. So nobody else will come and have this conversation. Speak to the people who are sitting in the corner somewhere, having a drink by themselves or having a meal by themselves, because they feel lonely and they don't know how to connect. Now, you don't know whether that person may be your dream client or your cream client. Now, in networking, do not sell. This is not a sales process. What Leo or Jason and I am doing here today are educating you, giving you information on what we do and how we can help, not to sell to you, because nobody likes to be sold to, but people like the buying experience, correct? Right. Everyone likes to buy, but not to be sold to. So what we're doing is giving you information on what you can do when you're meeting a client, a possible client. Notice how you sit, notice how you stand, notice how far away you are. Thank you, Jason. Take a seat. Now, when couples especially, notice what happens in a restaurant. I say notice, but don't ogle, right? There's a difference. Notice what happens in group dynamics. You will see that if one person sitting by the table goes for their glass of wine and takes a sip, the other person automatically, almost instantly, goes for the glass of wine and takes a sip. Now, I noticed with you guys here today, when you were in rapport with the other person, you were synchronized with the other person. So if one person stood like this, the other person stood like this. If one person stood like this, the other person tended to fold their arms too. Now, a lot of people think that this is standoffish. This is defensive. And I always say, whoever's told you that doesn't know what they're talking about. Because I do this quite a lot. And for me, this is not standoffish. This means uncomfortable. For some people, this means I'm cold. For some people, this means I need some sort of security. Could be a number of reasons. But you've got to look at all the signals that the body gives before you make any interpretation. So what we do, I'm not going to take too much of your time, what we do with L&D and Ariva, we make sure that we get the right candidate in the right company. We train the candidate to be able to do their interview properly. I also help the interviewers, because the interviewers are sometimes as nervous as the candidates are. We train the interviewers on how to interview properly. We also make sure that salespeople can hit that sale and win rapport, build rapport, and win business straight away, within 5 or 10 minutes. I can teach you to build rapport with another person that you don't know without even having to say a word. Now, that's a secret that I'll share with you maybe some other day. But if you're interested in what we do and how we can help and how we can build a business, because that's my forte, is building companies and building people, making them superior in their field. Some people don't know what they want to do in life. So I help people from all ages, from kids all the way to senior citizens. How can we get them to enjoy the work they do? Because who here enjoys what they do? Fantastic.
I was the first.
Thank you. Because there's a lot of people, especially kids out there, youngsters out there, who haven't got a clue. And unfortunately, that's when they start living the rat race. So my intention is to try and avoid that, stop that, if I can, and make sure people enjoy what they love doing. Because if you enjoy what you love doing, then you are going to become an expert. And you're going to really love it. It's play. So thank you for listening to me, because this is what I enjoy doing. And thank you, good luck, and may God be with you, and enjoy your network. Thank you.